Okay, let's see. Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our sunrise yoga session. I'm really happy to be here with you all. Thank you for all the introductions and um, the rules and regulations. It's important that we're all on the same page about how to, um, support each other through the practice this morning and through the day. Before we get started with a little bit of moving, I just want to acknowledge a couple of things. I have been teaching yoga for over 10 years. I'm a expert registered yoga teacher, 500 hours of training and over 5,000 hours of teaching. And I feel like this yoga practice is one of the things that helps me do all the things that I do. But in particular, it gives me a sense of place and a sense of compassion and empathy and some kind of like tools to live life by. Just to say that the yoga practice is a tradition that's over 5,000 years old and encompasses a lot more than physical fitness and has an entire philosophy and way of being in the world that really is geared towards thinking about oneself in relationship to others. And I think that in a conversation like the one that we're approaching today, that has so many topics regarding equity and inclusion and diversity and finding tools for justice through our art practice, that just to say, being in your body and finding a way to really connect yourself and all of the different aspects of yourself into that practice of showing up for advocacy, I find to be really valuable and important. The word yoga translates to union, connection, bringing different aspects of oneself together, bringing oneself into connection or into union with something that's outside of oneself, and remembering that we are all sort of interconnected and a part of this much bigger web. And so with that in mind, we can bring this practice into our bodies, into our breath, into the mind, and hopefully create a little bit of space to show up really fully for what's being offered today, so that we can take all that in and go back out into the world and live it and practice it. We're going to do a pretty gentle practice this morning, just to get the blood moving, to get the breath moving, to hopefully open some things up. I'll just invite you to modify as you need to, make adjustments as you need to. You can like kick it up a notch if you're feeling really ready to jam this morning, or you can like tone it way down, and just always listening to your body and doing what you need. Let's go ahead and get started in a comfortable position on your back, on your mat. So you can lie down in any shape that feels comfortable to you. That could be something like Shavasana with your arms down by your sides and your legs out long, or if you prefer, bending your knees and placing your feet on your mat. Or if you'd like to bring the bottoms of your feet together and butterfly your knees apart, you've got lots of choices in there just to do what feels comfortable. And once you find your way into a comfortable position on your back, you're welcome to close your eyes if that feels accessible this morning. If you prefer to keep your eyes open, that's okay too. Just maybe try to fix your gaze on your ceiling somewhere with the eyes kind of soft, so they're relaxed but steady. You really can take your time to arrive there and settle in. There's no rush. When you find a place that's comfortable, just try to get still in there, whatever that means to you right now. You don't need to do anything yet. You can just simply start to shift your attention or your awareness. You can notice maybe whatever the physical sensations of being in this shape, in this posture are for you right now. That could be sensations of different parts of the body making contact with the ground below you, or maybe the way your clothes are sort of resting on your skin. Maybe you're getting some sensational feedback about the shape itself in your body, sort of where things are maybe stretching or supported, or just little feelings that start to creep up as you settle in and pay attention to your body. And you can also notice the sensations of your body breathing itself. You don't really need to do anything to your breath. You can simply feel the breath coming and going. And you can also start to maybe tune into just the quality of energy that you've shown up to your mat with this morning, the quality of energy that you maybe have in preparation for the day ahead. You can also maybe just tune into the quality of the mind, whether it feels particularly busy or quiet, whether you still have a little bit of morning fog or you're feeling really awake. And all of these things that you're tuning into or noticing, you can notice without preference, judgment, or expectation. We can drop into the practice of making observations, of noticing, of building awareness without adding any of those extra layers of judgment on top. And when you feel ready, you can take a nice long breath in through your nose. Maybe a big open mouth exhale. Again, big breath in. Open mouth. One more inhale. Open mouth. As you feel ready, you can start to breathe in and out just through your nose, and on purpose, start to stretch your breath here. So you can make your inhalations longer and your exhalations deeper. Just maybe taking the time to fill up your belly and then your ribs and then your chest on your inhale. And as you exhale, you can empty and reverse the chest and then the ribs and then the belly. So you're starting to cultivate a steady, conscious breath, a pranayama practice. Just as you consciously, mindfully choose to grow your breath, make clearer choices about how you're breathing, you can continue to just be mindful and conscious of how you're directing your attention and the quality of that attention. Just noticing what you notice with a sense of openness and spaciousness. You're welcome to stay just as you are and continue to deepen your breath a little bit here. If you feel ready, you can maybe rock your head slightly side to side. And then from all places, whatever shape you're in, you can extend your legs out long underneath you and reach your arms long overhead. Take a full body kind of morning style stretch, just extending energy out through the fingers and the toes. You might feel your rib cage lift a little bit away from the ground. And then when you are ready, you can give yourself a nice big exhale to maybe engage your abdominals a little bit for support. So you can draw both of your knees into your chest and you can rock a little bit side to side, just feeling into the way the low back kind of moves down into the floor when your knees curl up towards your chest. Just give the low back and the back of the pelvis a little bit of a massage there. And just try to stay with your breath, maybe thinking about creating a little bit of space and ease in your neck, your shoulders, your jaw. You can let go of any unnecessary tension or tone there. And then in your own time, you can extend your legs up overhead. Your knees do not need to be straight, but they could kind of move in that direction. And you can wiggle your toes or roll your ankles a little bit. Maybe point and flex your feet, just sending some energy out through the feet, finding a little bit of length in the backs of the legs, lengthening hamstrings, calves. And then you could give your legs a little bit of a shake up there. So just try to relax your ankles, your knees, and like you could wiggle your muscles way off of the bone there. The calf muscles can relax, the quads and the hamstrings can relax. Just creating a little bit of freedom in there. And then without rush, as you are ready, you can let your knees fold in towards your chest. And you've got a couple of options here. You can switch your grip so your hands are behind your knees, and then you can start to rock and roll forward and back a few times if you'd like. Or if it's better for your body, you can roll over onto one side and then gently make your way up to a seat. And there's no rush to get there. Once you find your way up, you can sit cross-legged if you'd like. And if you have a prop that you'd like to sit on, you're welcome to sit up that way. If you prefer sitting on your shins, that's also an option. Same thing, you're welcome to prop your pelvis up if you like to sit in Virasana on your shins instead. Whatever expression of sitting you find yourself in, just make sure that you've got some space here and see if you can sit up nice and tall, maybe gently tip the pelvis forward a little bit so there's room for you to feel a nice long spine with a little bit of a natural curve in your low back. Your hands can rest on your legs, wherever feels comfortable underneath your shoulders. And then you can just roll your shoulders back a couple of times, try to make some space. My assistant Rizzo has decided to join us. It usually happens right about now. And then when you feel ready, just go ahead and lengthen up through the top of your head. You can take a nice big breath in, reach your arms way up overhead. And then as you exhale, go ahead and bring your right hand down and your left arm over, and you can find a nice long side body stretch there. Yeah, good. And then inhale back up through center, 2 arms long overhead. And then exhale up and over other side. Yep, and you'll just do that a few times side to side at your own pace. Inhale, center, and then exhale to side bend. And you can move like that at your pace with your breath without rush. And maybe just notice if it's possible to, as you coordinate your breath and your movement, also think a little bit about where your eyes are and how you're using your focus. Maybe just to continue to invite some energy into your body, some awareness into your body. And that doesn't mean that you can't also be aware of the space around you, but just kind of toggling back and forth between what's going on internally and what's happening in the space around you. And maybe just one more time each side, taking your own kind of pace there as needed. And then when you are ready, you can come back up through center with both arms way overhead. Give that nice big breath in to really reach up through the fingertips, maybe open the armpit space a little bit. And then you can exhale to interlace your hands behind your head. Go ahead and lean your head back into your hands for a moment here. See if you can open your elbows out nice and wide. And then maybe use a little bit of energy from the hands to gently lengthen the back of your skull up towards the ceiling so the back of the neck feels really spacious. Take one more big breath in, fill up the chest. And as you exhale, you can go chin into your chest, hug your elbows in around your ears gently, and then you can continue to press your head up and back into your hands, just looking for some stretch there, maybe down in between the shoulder blades through the middle back. Another good opportunity just to remember that you can soften your jaw, maybe relax your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. And see if you can actively send your breath into your upper back, in between the ribs and the back body. One more big inhale. A long exhale. You can inhale to come back up through center, open your elbows out wide, lift the top of your head high. And exhale to release your arms down by your sides. If you are in a cross-legged seat, go ahead and switch the cross of your shins so the awkward leg is in front. If you're up on your shins, you're welcome to stay. And we'll just set ourselves up for a little bit of a twist. So you can inhale your arms way up overhead, get long on both sides. And then as you exhale, you'll twist to your right. So you can go right hand to the back of your pelvis or right hand to the ground behind you, totally up to you. You could reach your left hand all the way across for your right leg, or you could go same hand to leg if that feels better on your shoulders. And just give yourself a couple of breaths here. So you're working with your inhalation to lengthen. And then as you exhale, that might give you a little bit of space to gently twist. And again, you can notice where your eyes are, what you're seeing. Maybe there's some space to kind of relax the muscles behind your eyeballs. And take a nice big breath in. And one more long exhale. And inhale to come back through center. You can reach both arms overhead, lengthen your sides. And as you exhale, you can twist to your other side. Left hand can go behind you. And you're welcome to reach the right arm all the way across, or you can go same hand to leg. Totally up to you what feels accessible right now. See if there's space again to use your inhalations to lengthen, maybe take up a little bit of space. And then as you exhale, you can gently encourage a bit more twist. And just check in with your eyes. Maybe there's one more big inhale. And a whole exhale. Breathe in, come on back to center, reach your arms way overhead, get long on both sides. And then as you exhale, you can bring your arms down, back to the legs, wherever is comfortable for the shoulders to relax. You'll lengthen way up through the top of the head as you breathe in. As you exhale, you can just simply go chin to chest. And then you'll inhale left ear to left shoulder, feel the right side of the neck get a little bit longer. And then exhale, chin to chest. And then you can inhale right ear to right shoulder, stretch the left side of your neck. Yep, and just like that, a few times side to side. You can make that movement as big or small as you need right now. Maybe just feeling the connection between the side of the neck, the top of the shoulder, what's going on in your jaw, and what's going on, again, maybe behind your eyes. So there's that space to kind of soften in the face, let go of unnecessary tension or tone. And just invite a little bit more openness in there. As you feel ready, when you feel balanced, you can bring your head back up through center. There's absolutely no rush to get there. And then you might turn your head simply just right and left a couple of times. See what's to the right of you, see what's to the left of you. Feel the way the neck sort of stretches in that rotation. And then in your own time, you can come back to center and we'll make our way into a downward facing dog. So if you're up on a prop, you're welcome to shift that prop off to the side and just find your way onto your hands and knees for a moment so that you can set up Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. So the hands are going to go underneath the shoulders more or less. You might like your hands slightly wider than that. You can also turn your pointer fingers out towards the corners of the mat a little bit so that there's some space to kind of spiral your arm bones. Then you can tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And there's space here always to bend the knees so that you have room to really lengthen your spine and feel the hips go super high. We're looking for kind of like an inverted V shape in the body here. So you can maybe tune into the negative space that's underneath your body as you push through your hands and your feet. And you can move your heart a bit towards your thighs. You can try to relax your head between your arms. Just really push through all of your fingers so you're using your whole hand for support. Just give that maybe 2 more really generous breaths. And take a nice deep inhale. And a long exhale. And as you inhale, you can look forward, put a little bit of a bend in your knees if you don't have one there already, so you can really pick the hips up super high. And then with your exhale, you can travel to the front of your mat. Take as many steps as you need to arrive at the top of the mat, standing on 2 feet in a forward fold. You can let your head relax, let your arms hang down. If you have props that you like to use under your hands here, please go ahead and place your hands up on your blocks. If you feel like you need some space but you don't have props, you can use your legs. You might walk your forearms up onto your thighs just to give yourself a little bit of space to fold over the legs with some support from your arms. And try to relax your head. Again, there's always an option to bend your knees. Send your breath into your back. Try to feel the weight of the head kind of falling forward and down. You can relax your toes. And take a nice big breath in. And a long exhale. And then again, if you don't have a bend in the knees yet, go ahead and find one. And with soft knees, you can carefully roll up. Try to let your head come up last as you find your way to vertical. There's no rush to get there. Just gently unfolding your spine until you can find yourself standing tall. And as you arrive at the top, if you'd like to do some shoulder circles, just drawing the shoulders back and down a few times, that might be nice. We'll take a modified sun salutation this morning. Just finding a little bit of space to move with the breath, one breath to movement. You can organize your feet about hip width distance right underneath you. Take a nice big breath in to sweep your arms out and up overhead. You might look up and see your thumbs there. And then as you exhale, you're going to bend your elbows, kind of like a cactus shape. You can draw the elbows down and back and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Move your heart forward and up. And as you inhale, you can extend your arms really long overhead. Maybe think about widening the back of the ribs and softening the front. Then as you exhale, you can fold forward, empty out over your legs. You can bend your knees as much as you need, prop the hands or forearms to thighs, and try to relax your head down there at the bottom. You'll inhale and take a halfway lift. Hands can come way up on the shins here so you have space to lengthen, head forward, tailbone back. And then with your exhale, you're going to place your hands to your mat and step back to a high plank. There's absolutely no rush here, so take your time. If you like your knees down in this plank pose, that's totally fine. That's a good option. Just give yourself a moment to feel strong through your arms and strong through your center. Take a nice big breath in to shift your weight forward. And then as you exhale, you're going to lower all the way to your belly. So your knees can definitely come down first if you want that additional support to come down all the way to the mat. You can extend the tops of the feet back a little bit there, so there's space to press down into your toes. And then you walk your elbows out in front of you and take a little Sphinx pose. So elbows go under shoulders, palms can go flat if that feels okay for your forearms, or you might make fists instead. So you can push down and drag the heart forward and up into the back bend. We're looking for a nice long back bend. It doesn't need to be high, just moving the heart away from the tail. Just maybe one more big breath in to feel that length. And as you exhale, you can come all the way down, walk your elbows up towards the ceiling, hands by the base of the rib cage. You can hug your elbows in, take a big breath in. And then with your exhalation, you're going to push up onto your hands and knees and rock back to a child's pose. Knees wide, forehead can find your mat. Or if you need a little bit of lift, you could place a block under your forehead or stack your fists. You can take a nice big breath in to fill up the belly, make some space in your low back. And find a really generous exhale. And one more like that, whole breath in. And a long breath out. And you can take your time to shift forward, come on up to your hands. And go ahead and tuck your toes and slide your hips up and back, downward facing dog. You're going to press through all of your fingers. Try to use your whole hand for support here. See if you can lift the sit bones super high, soften your ankle joints. Take a big breath in. And a long exhale. Then as you're ready, you can inhale to look towards your hands, pick the hips up super high. Exhale as many steps as you need, forward fold at the top of the mat. Organize your feet under your pelvis. Take a nice big breath in, halfway lift. Hands can come up onto your shins. Then you'll exhale to fold forward, empty over your legs, heavy head. Your breath in, push through your feet, stand all the way up, reach your arms overhead. And you can exhale to gather your hands to heart center, samastitihi, standing at attention. We're just going to do that 2 times, moving with the breath. You take it at your pace with whatever variations you need. Take a big breath in, send your arms up overhead. Exhale, cactus your arms, find a little back bend here. Move the heart forward, take the gaze up. Inhale, reach your arms long overhead, widen your back body. Exhale, tip forward, fold over your legs, bend your knees as much as you need. Your breath in is a halfway lift. Hands can come up onto the shins for support. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back. Right away, we're going to lower all the way to the belly. So the knees can be up or down in that transition, and you can shift forward to come down. You're going to walk the elbows out in front for Sphinx Pose. Take a big breath in to lift into that low back bend. And then as you exhale, you can lower all the way down, walk your hands back by your ribs. Hug your elbows in, take a big breath in. As you exhale, you're going to shift up and back, child's pose. You've got 1 full inhale. A full exhale. Inhale forward to your hands and knees. And then you can tuck your toes and rock back on the exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, bend your knees, pick your hips up high. Exhale, top of the mat, forward fold. Your breath in is a halfway lift. Your breath out, fold forward. Inhale, stand up, send your arms overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. We'll just do 1 more round. Your breath in, reach up, stretch up. Big exhale to cactus your arms, lift your heart. Your breath in, extend your arms long overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. You can exhale to tip forward, fold over your legs, Uttanasana. Your breath in, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back. You're lowering from that high to low plank. Take your time, these can come down first as needed. And walk the elbows forward. Your inhale, Sphinx Pose, lift your heart. And as you exhale, you can lower down, walk the hands back, hug your elbows up towards the ceiling. Take a nice big breath in. As you exhale, you can push up hands and knees and then sit back to a child's pose. Knees wide, forehead to the mat or to your hands. Find a full breath in. A long exhale. Inhale, shift forward onto your hands and knees, and then you can exhale to rock back to a downward facing dog. Send your hips up nice and high and press through all of your fingers. Your breath in, look forward, bend your knees, pick your hips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, top of the mat, forward fold. Your inhale is a halfway lift. Your exhale is a forward fold. And you can breathe in to stand up, reach your arms overhead. Exhale to draw your hands to your heart. Just give yourself a moment to stand on 2 feet. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze. Maybe you want to come back to noticing sensations in the body, the movement of the breath, and quality of energy, physically, mentally. And take maybe 1 more long inhale. And a whole exhale. And you can gently lift your gaze or blink your eyes open. Just bring your arms down by your sides. And then no super fancy or exciting transition. You're just going to go ahead and sit back down on your mat. And we'll send the legs out in front for a moment here. And then just as you feel ready, you're going to pivot open to the long side of the mat. And it's not important for your legs to be like super wide apart or anything like that. We're just pivoting to the long edge of the mat. So we have kind of a sense of the back of the mat and the front of the mat. It doesn't matter which leg is where at the moment. And you can kind of wiggle your pelvis towards the back edge of the mat so you've got some space out in front of you. For now, let's go ahead and fold the right leg. We'll go your right leg to the inside of your left leg. So you can go sole of the foot to the inner thigh there. And you're welcome to prop the knee with a block if you need, or you can sit up on a blanket or a pillow if you feel like you need a little bit of lift under your pelvis. You're gonna flex your left toes up towards the ceiling. Take a nice big breath in, reach both arms way up overhead. And then as you exhale, you can take a side bend. So you might rest your left arm on your left leg. Give yourself a little bit of a prop there to really reach and lengthen the right side. You're going to try to drive the right sit bone down and allow the right thigh bone to fall open there. And then if it's available, you're going to soften your left shoulder away from your left ear and send your breath really wide into your right side body. You're welcome to stay just like this, or if you feel like you have space, it might be interesting or useful to go right hand to the back of your head and then just gently lean your head into your hand. You might get a little more stretch in that space underneath your armpit. Just notice where you can soften and make a little bit more space and try to use your breath. And one more long inhale. A full exhale. And take your time. Carefully go ahead and sit yourself back up through center. No rush to get there. You can let the right arm come down. Yep, and then we'll switch the legs out. Extend the right leg out, fold the left leg in. And then you can make those adjustments to your props however you need. Under your pelvis, underneath your left knee. Just try to turn the right toes to face the ceiling. Take a big breath in, reach both arms long overhead. And then as you're ready, you're going to exhale and side bend. You can bring your right arm down and send your left arm over. And I'm just kind of propping my right arm on my right leg. That's going to give me some space maybe to push down into that forearm or gently turn my heart a little bit up underneath the left armpit. And you can keep your left arm extended or you can go hand behind your head. And you're just working on lengthening from armpit to hip and then try to let that whole left leg fall away there. Nice, long, generous breaths. Maybe one more inhale. A big exhale. And carefully invite yourself back up through center. Take a nice long breath in. And then as you exhale, just go ahead and rock back on your sit bones and you can draw the soles of your feet together and open the knees out wide. For Baddha Konasana or Tarasana, depending on how you set up your legs, you've got a couple of options. You can either pull your heels in really close to your pelvis, and maybe that's going to get a little bit more in the inside of the hip and the groin, or you can send the feet really long out in front of you for like a wider diamond shape, and that might give you more access to your low back. So just check in with what feels appropriate for your body this morning. Again, you're welcome to sit up on a prop or prop your knees. Take a deep inhale to lengthen your spine. And then as you're ready, you can exhale, fold over the legs any amount. You can use your hands on your feet, your ankles, or your shins. And then again, if you have props and you'd like to use them, you could rest your forehead on a block, or you can just kind of let yourself hang and fold. And you might practice sending your breath really clearly into the backside of your body here for a couple of rounds. And just notice if you can soften unnecessary tension or tone in the upper body, relax your shoulders, make some space around your neck. And find a nice long inhale. And an open mouth. And take your time, gently sit yourself up through center. There's no rush to get there. And then once again, you can extend the legs out kind of wide to the sides. They don't need to be super wide. And we're just going to pivot from one side to the other. So I'm going to call this my right side and this my left side. As you feel ready, you can bend this right knee so that your shin ends up sort of parallel towards the front of your mat, and you can kind of pivot towards that right leg, and you can bend the left leg in the back. So we're looking for like 90-degree bend in the right leg in the front and a 90-degree bend in the left leg in the back. Again, you're welcome to prop yourself up if you need some support underneath the pelvis there. And just see if it's possible here, maybe to use your hands on either side of you to lift your pelvis up a little bit and maybe draw the left hip slightly forward and the right hip a little bit back. You can take a nice big breath in and sit up tall here. And then you're welcome to stay like this, or you could exhale and fold over your right leg in the front, any amount. And we're looking for a bit of stretch in the outside of the right hip there. So you can kind of moderate how you fold to get some sensation going in the outside of that right hip. You could come down straight over the shin. You could walk yourself a little bit over to your right leg if you feel like you need space on the left side. Or if you have maybe a bit more room for intensity, you can walk yourself over to your left. And then you're going to work with your breath there, just noticing that you can soften with your exhalations. We have that space to kind of move towards sensation or move towards intensity. Maybe just acknowledge where there's discomfort and then practice using the breath to be with that. As long as there's also like a good dose of listening to the body and making sure that, we're not like moving into a painful place. And take maybe one more really long breath in. And a big exhale. And there's no rush. You can sit yourself up. And then maybe you're going to lean back a little bit. You can roll over your heels, put your weight into your hands back there, and just kind of like, windshield wiper the legs right and left. So the knees can fall right and the knees can fall left a few times. Just rolling over the back of the sit bones. And then you'll pivot to set up your figure, your pinwheel pose, 90-90, facing your left leg. So you're working on 90-degree bend-ish in that left leg in front now, and a 90-degree bend in the right leg and back now. And you can prop the pelvis up as much as you need to. And then when you feel ready, just gently go ahead and fold over your left leg any amount. And again, you've got a couple of breaths here just to work into the hip. You can practice that discernment, just maybe inviting sensation. Really mindful not to push too far. And see if there's somewhere you can soften for one more big breath in. And a long exhale. And then without rush, you can go ahead and sit yourself up through your center and pivot back towards the front of your mat or towards where you'd like to sit. And just give yourself a moment to sit upright. And you're welcome to, again, prop your pelvis. And you can sit cross-legged or on your shins. Let your hands rest on your thighs. Maybe roll your shoulders back. Just take a moment to close your eyes or soften your gaze. And just like you began practice, you can take a moment here to notice. You can come back to just letting your body breathe itself. Just hold space for whatever's showing up in the moment. Give yourself permission to just be here and be available. And as you feel ready, you can take a nice long breath in, an open mouth. Maybe place one hand over your heart, one hand over your belly. Just take a moment to thank yourself for carving out this space to start your day with practice. Maybe just set an intention for the rest of your day. Maybe even simply just to carry forward an awareness of your body and your breath. The light in me is honored to be in the presence of the light within each of you and in all living things. Namaste. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you.